March Madness is here. The most exciting time for sports gamblers is upon us. And while the Super Bowl is the biggest single day of wagering volume known to man, the college basketball tournament is unmatched in its prolonged concentration of betting. This is what separates the men from the boys, and trust me when I tell you this, it's not a war that you want to fight without a lot of guns and plenty of bullets. Welcome to Two for the Money. Glad you're here. And if you like the show, don't forget hit subscribe and follow us across all social media. Then you'll get notified each and every time a new show drops. Steve Budin here, legend in my own mind, owner and operator of the largest sports betting analysis company in the world. And I'm joined each and every week by my partner in crime, the always entertaining, reigning heavyweight handicapping champion of the world. You know who I'm talking about. It's Brandon Lang. What's up, my friend?
You know,
missed you last week, brother.
I got the jumper. This is my favorite time of the year, basketball. This is as good as it gets for me. Been in the gym today. Jumper's looking good. I got to tell you, looking forward to a big tournament.
Well, so many sports gambling podcasts out there to choose from, truly, but none like this one. Nowhere will you find two better opinions that come from two more opposite sides of the tracks. Brandon, hands down, the most well-known handicapper in the industry. Love him or hate him, he's a household name, and the one thing you'll never see him doing is gardening. That's because he will never hedge his bets. Me, on the other hand, former bookmaker, creator of the offshore and online sports betting industry. For 20 years, I made my money on the dark side, taking the bets. But for the last 20 years, I've joined forces with you, the gambler, and the rest, my friends, is history. Okay, Brandon, before we get into this week's highlighted Who Picks, I got to get your opinion on this. As always, let's talk a little Las Vegas. It's a sunny place for shady people. You lived there for a decade. I worked there for over a decade. And when it comes to gambling and overall entertainment, it's nothing short of the center of the universe. And I look to Vegas over the last 2 days, and domestic Democrats blew up a bunch of Teslas at a local Tesla dealership just a few days ago. They used Molotov cocktails and they shot some rounds into the cars, doing some damage both physically to the cars and psychologically to the Tesla owners. And obviously this is an attack on Elon Musk, Trump's biggest supporter, head of the Department of Government Efficiency. I know you read about this. What do you think about it, B?
It's embarrassing. You know, it's embarrassing look of America.
Yeah.
The Democrats continue to just throw up on themselves and the rejection. And it's amazing that my wife and I were talking about this, and when we were having to go through the 4 years of Joe Biden, we didn't react like this. We knew the man has dementia. We knew the man wasn't running the country.
Right.
We knew he was running into the ground, but we weren't out there creating chaos.
Right.
And now Trump gets in there and he's making these decisions, and he is literally exposing just how crooked the Democratic Party was in office, just how crooked Biden was with the pardons, where he wasn't even signing it, Steve-O.
Right.
He was stamping it.
Yep.
It's embarrassing that they can't set back, take their 4 years like a man,
Yep.
get somebody in there in 4 years and see if you can beat who the Republican has. Pick up basketball reference. You set a kid down, he takes his ball and he goes home because he's a big fat baby. And that's what we're dealing with. And now to take it to this level, it's amazing nobody was hurt. And I think that's going to happen, Steve-O.
Yep.
I really do, if we continue down this path.
And I got to ask the question, like, are the Democrats the stupidest people on earth? I mean, like, wait a second. And I don't mean all of them. There are those 1970 live and let live Democrats who are friends of mine and I love. And they're like, listen, whatever we do in our bedroom is our business. And I'm okay with that. And I'm down with that. And I get all that. And let's understand the original definition of Democrat was George Washington was a Democrat, and it just meant, right, that they believed in a a very small government, and they were liberals. They believed in freedom. That's what the word liberal meant. And then it changed. The whole thing changed, and all of a sudden liberal means something else. But it's interesting, right? Because first they had defund the police. Remember this one? And this was the Democrats. They did defund the police. And where did they do defund the police? They did it in the cities and the strongholds that were controlled by who? The Democrats. So they punished their own people, and they saw the Democrat-run cities, right, turned into hellholes for who? Not for me, not for you, for their own people, for the Democrats. And now, do you have a Tesla? You don't have a Tesla. I don't have a Tesla. We both got gas-guzzling cars. I think you have a Mercedes-Benz, and I have a truck. Go ahead.
Yeah, but let me say that. I test drove a Tesla.
Well, now you did, because you want to show support.
I test drove one 4 years ago before I got my next Mercedes.
Right.
It was like driving the fastest roller coaster you've ever been in your life. And I did 0 to 90 in 3.5 seconds, and on side roads in Vegas. And I pulled it back in the dealership and told the guy, I said, I'll kill myself in 2 weeks with this car. Good luck with that. It's an amazing car. It's amazing what it does. But I'll stick with my Benzo.
And that's the point. The point is that the majority of folks that bought Tesla were these Democrats. Were liberals who cared about the environment and bought into the whole electric car thing, which God bless them. I believe we should have all kinds of cars. I happen to think hybrids are the best, iteration of electric cars. That's my opinion, but they're not sexy. Elon Musk, a capitalist, came out with a very sexy car who the Democrats supported. And now the Democrats are driving 90% of these cars, and they're blowing up whose cars? They're scratching whose cars? They're putting knives into the tires on the streets of whose cars? Their own people's cars. This is like, how less popular can this party become? I think they're under 20% right now as it is. I mean, it's like the devil always overplays his hand. They are overplaying their hand. And as we see people exiting a party to go to another party, we see a majority. We don't see Republicans turning into Democrats in this age, but we do see a lot of Democrats saying enough is enough, and their building is on fire, and they're throwing oil on it, and they're suffering because of it. Like you say, take their 4 years. I don't know. It's 4 years. I think they continue the way that they are doing what they are doing right now. I don't see a path for them to get the presidency back. But in any event,
I told you. 12 years.
Yeah, no,
12 years.
I like that over/under number. Let's take a quick. Oh yeah, but then you know what happens is we become complacent. It happens all the time. It happened after Reagan. It always happens. We become complacent. We sit back. We think everything's okay, and they find a way in, like that water looking for the crack in the ceiling. But anyway, let's turn from Vegas to the NBA. We had a week off last week. I never got a chance to discuss this. LeBron James took flopping to the next level, faked getting hit in the face. We didn't have a chance to speak about this off camera, B. It speaks to his character, if you ask me. Well, you saw the video, or maybe you watched the game live. I don't know. What did you think when you saw this?
Not surprised.
Right.
When he left Cleveland, went to Miami and formed his little super team.
Yeah.
It's not surprising anything he does. And the cherry on top of the sundae is making the Lakers draft his son and putting his son on the roster, who is not an NBA player.
Right.
And if that's his position on that, that's all you need to know about LeBron. Greatest of all time? Not even close. LeBron in the Michael Jordan NBA era, he'd have got hit.
Right.
Like, he would have got hit. There's no reason to fake a flop. You would have got hit. And that just leads into the argument that you have with people, who's the greatest of all time. These players today, Steph Curry today, as great as he is, could not have played in the Jordan, Detroit Piston, Boston Celtic
Not physical
era.
enough for him. Right. He's not physical enough to have taken it.
Nope. And
because
so
he would have got sat on his ass many times and had to keep getting back up. And we haven't seen evidence that he can do that. Now, maybe he could. We just haven't seen that.
LeBron could have handled the physicality.
Yes.
I just don't know if he would have been as effective as he is in this league. Third greatest player of all time. I tip my cap to him. But character of all time, he can't hold Jordan's jock.
And we kind of moved the conversation from this taking flopping to a next level to the argument of who the GOAT is. And that's okay. I'm going to stay with that because I think it has a place in this conversation. And you mentioned top 3. Who's your top 2?
Jordan and Kobe.
Okay, so the question is, and by the way, I've got Jordan, I've got Kobe, I've got Magic, I've got Larry Bird, all in there before LeBron James. But that's okay. Let's just go with your assessment. Would Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan ever carry on like that? Would you ever see them fake a foul? Have you ever seen them fake a foul? Never. They were men first. They would bleed. They would die before they would try to fake a foul. And it speaks to who they are from the inside out. And LeBron James, and I think that matters when it comes to determining who the greatest of all time is. But this goes further, B. This isn't just faking a foul. We've seen this flopping thing that's gone on, and really, I blame the refs for that, not the players. I blame the fish stinks from the head down. I blame the owners and the people and the commissioner, because he should have nipped that shit in the bud when it first happened, right? But now we're seeing something else. We're seeing the very thing that killed the Me Too movement when they started faking rape. Right, and just calling it Me Too. Everybody was a rape victim. Everybody started blaming everyone for rape, calling everything rape. And what it did was it diluted, right, the real rape victims. It diluted the real situations, and everyone started to not believe everyone because everyone was faking it. When you fake getting a foul, that's one thing. It's bad. It's horrible. It serves no purpose in the league. But when you fake getting punched in the face, when you fake getting assaulted on the floor, that's like faking rape. It goes to a whole other level that's demeaning. It ruins and dilutes everyone out there that actually takes a hard foul. And you know what? There's no place for it in the league. It should be stopped. There should be a minimum of a 7 to 10 game suspension without pay if you fake an assault. Remember, an assault is punishable by arrest. Right? By prosecution. It's a felony to assault someone. Punching someone in the face is a felony if it's unprovoked, right? If it's not an act of self-defense. You're going to try to get someone arrested, there should be a severe punishment for that. I think that's the level I look at this with. I don't know if you would agree.
No, I listen, I completely agree. The fact of the matter is, LeBron's always seeking attention. And he's been seeking that since he came into the league. So not surprising that at the twilight of his career, maybe 2 years left, this is what we have. It's a guy hanging on. He's producing. Don't get me wrong. When he comes back healthy and watching Luka, they're going to be a force in the Western Conference. I will not take that away from them. But I don't know. I'll speak for myself. I'm tired of his act. Yeah. Looking forward to having him move on.
And you make such an interesting point. I keep trying to go on to the next segment, and you keep making very interesting points. I agree. I don't think this is about LeBron trying to get someone arrested, right? I don't think this is about LeBron trying to blame someone else for assault. I think this is about what LeBron is about, which is, hey, that guy just went by me. That's not my fault. He punched me in the face. It wasn't me. It's about a lack of accountability. That's what it's about more than anything. When Bird got beat by Jordan, finally, after like 6 years of Jordan trying, Bird turned around and said, this is the best player in the league right now. That's called accountability. Yep. Magic said that about Bird. Magic said that about Jordan. Like, these guys were quick to say, I'm the best, and then they were quick to say, not anymore. this guy's
Right.
now the best. It's
Yep.
it's a level of honesty and transparency and accountability. And again, it speaks to what I said from the beginning: character. I think LeBron James has the talent, no doubt. He does not have the character. Kobe had the
Completely agree.
character. Jordan had the character. Bird had the character. This guy doesn't. Okay, before we get into the thing that everybody came for, not the dissertation about LeBron James, clearly, but we had to go there. We missed this last week, and I really just had to go there. This is the weekly free pick winners. Let's do on this show but what they don't do on any other show. Before we get to the winners, let's take a look around the country and discuss the fuck is going on, B? So much continuing to go on as Trump is advancing his America First agenda day by day, sometimes minute by minute. I mean, like, have you been glued to your phone for any more than you have been since this administration started? No one knows what's coming next. Everybody's caught with their mouths open. The guy keeps making promises and delivering on those promises, but clearly the new America-hating Democratic strategy is to thwart his progress, right, by having these Obama and Clinton-appointed federal judges try to legally delay or dismiss Trump's effort to clean up the country. The last thing was they asked to have those planes turned around. The planes are filled with rapists and murdering gang members, not with like grandmas and mother-in-laws and housekeepers. That hasn't happened. That's not happening. That's what they said was going to happen. None of that's happening. What's happening is they're getting criminals, hardcore criminals, out of the country, on their way to El Salvador to go to the type of jail that is fitting for them. And they try to get Trump to turn that plane around in midair with a federal ruling. Whatever Trump's trying to do, they just want to stop it. They don't care what it is, good, bad. We saw when they didn't stand for the kid with cancer. We saw when they didn't stand, for the people who got, assaulted, whose kids had died from migrant murders. They just would, even if it's 100% right, if it's Trump, they're against it. What say you?
Well, don't lose sight of the fact that they allowed them in the country in the first place. So it's not surprising that some judge who is completely clueless tries to stop them from going.
Great
when
point.
He brought them in, or the Democratic Party brought them in the first place. The bottom line, they're not going to beat President Trump.
No.
As much as they try. If this does go before the Supreme Court, so the Supreme Court will rule on the ruling that's already in place in our Constitution from, was it 1847?
Wartime powers.
Yeah, it's already done. So
100%.
they're just delaying the inevitable,
right?
Which at this point is all they can do.
Yep.
They never thought they were going to lose the election. They did. They got slaughtered. Let's just keep throwing a speed bump down. Don's in his Bentley just rolling down the road, chilling.
He actually has a Tesla now. He actually has a Tesla now.
Well, so he's rolling in his Tesla. And they just keep throwing speed bumps that he has to slow down and go over. Yep. Eventually, there's going to be no more speed bumps, and we'll be able to get where we need to go over the next 4 years. It's unbelievable, Steve-O.
You make a really good point once again. I'm just going to rephrase it. These judges are hiding behind the rule of law, and they say, hey, it's nothing against Trump. It's the rule of law. That plane has to turn around. But where were these judges, and where was the rule of law when our country for 4 years was getting invaded by criminals, unchecked, with no type of vetting system, bringing in military-aged men from countries that clearly hate us, and there was no type of overlook whatsoever. No one was checking it. It was completely unchecked. It was open season. Where were the judges? Where were the judges that stood up and said, close the border, give ICE back their powers? Let's start to make it, better for the people that are legally coming into the country, and let's eliminate the people that are illegally. I mean, if you come into our country illegally, that's called a criminal act. So it clearly needs the rule of law, but there was no judge, not a Republican nor a Democrat judge, that stood up. And I think it's important that we give hell to our side, too, because there's something we can do, right? We can have Congress impeach these judges. Now you say, well, okay, we got to get 60 votes in the House. How are we going to do that? And DeSantis came out and told us just how to do it. You attach it to a bill that they need to pass. And if you attach it to a bill that the Democrats need to pass, they will vote for it, and then we will impeach these judges. And that's the only thing. But are these Republicans feckless? Are they only, do they only care about their own power? Do they really support Trump, or are they just kind of like talking the talk and walking the walk and going along to get along while Trump's in power, you know, because they only really care about themselves and they don't want to maybe offend the next guy who's going to be in power because they want to keep their job, they want to keep their power. I don't know. I the only thing I hate more than Democrats are rhinos, are fake Republicans, because the Democrats, as bad as they are, they say who they are. They say what they're going to do. They believe in their cause, and they stand for it, right or wrong. And there's something respectable about that. I don't like them. I don't agree with them, but I respect them. These Republicans that are spineless, that say one thing and do another and go with the flow, to me, they're worse.
Well, listen, and last thing I'm going to say on this is if I see any more of Larry David Bernie Sanders on TV.
Same thing.
I'm going to throw up. Yeah. I really am. Yeah. I'm so sick of watching this guy stretch out his 5 minutes of fame. Oh, Lord, I can't.
So you know who was Bernie Sanders' neighbor in Brooklyn in the 1930s? A man by the name of Dave Budin, who was my father. My dad. They lived in the same building together. And so, you know, everybody that came from that building was a crook, including my father, maybe the best of all. You know what I mean? So you could imagine like the crew that Bernie Sanders ran with in the 40s and 50s. He was one of those guys. But anyway, and now, like, at least it's not a political show. Like, I had somebody like write a thing. I didn't know you guys were doing a political show, and I'm like, it's not a political show. So I think we proved that once again. It's clearly not a political show. All right, guys, it is that time now. The time that you've all been waiting for. Here comes the winners. It's this week's free picks, but remember, free picks, they're just that, free picks, so don't hold it against us. Your best chance to win is to grab the all-access pass. It's free. You get 2 days for free of every premium play on the site. It's at 2foryourmoney.com. That's what I do, that's what Brandon does, and that's what you should do too. Okay, let's get down to business. It's time to go head-to-head with your bookie. Before we get into Sunday's NBA games, let's talk a little March Madness. Brandon, as you look into that crystal ball of yours and dust it off a little bit, give me your final four and crown your champion for this year's tournament.
Let me give a couple gems to the viewers.
Absolutely.
So as you're watching the tournament, watch the NIT very closely, because the NIT can give you hints of things that potentially happen in the NCAA tournament.
Good point.
Example, Jacksonville State at a Conference USA lost to Liberty in their conference final, went into Georgia Tech of the ACC. They were a 7.5-point dog, and they blew out Georgia Tech by close, I think 15-point blowout winner on the road at Georgia Tech. That was a Georgia Tech team that beat Clemson.
Right.
So the ACC takes a hit there. And behind me is McNeese State playing that Clemson team. Clemson laying 6.5, 7. And I believe McNeese State's up double digits at the half. It was 25-11 when we started the podcast today. So you keep an eye on that. NIT conferences against each other. Take it to the NCAA tournament. One thing I'm looking forward to, I believe St. John's takes care of business in their round one game Friday. Sunday, they'll be taking on the winner of Arkansas, Kansas. I believe either team, Arkansas, Kansas, St. John's, going to be laying a single-digit number. I don't care what it is. They will run the floor with either Kansas or Arkansas. So on Sunday, St. John's minus probably 6.5, 7. I think they run the floor and take Kansas. But watch the NIT, watch the conferences, how they match up, apply it to the NCAA tournament. I have St. John's going to the Final Four. I have them playing Auburn, although Auburn may have a speed bump with Creighton in the next round. I have Duke up top, and at the bottom I got the Houston Cougars. The Houston Cougars were up 50 today on their number 16 seed. I believe it's Kelvin Sampson's year. I believe the Houston Cougars at 30-4, 3 15-point scores. The Houston Cougars are your national champions.
Well, RJ Lewis, who plays for St. John's, if you're out there and watching, and I know you do, I know you're going to want to call me and take me out for a steak dinner after you get to the Final Four. Don't do it. It's not a good look. It's not a good photo op. You don't want a picture of me and you floating around out there. Not a good thing as you head towards the NBA. Know that I love you. I'm rooting for you. I haven't spoken to you in a few years. Let's keep it that way. You go do your thing, my kid. Another thing, Brandon, I think as a former bookmaker, arguably the guy who invented the offshore bookmaking business. Well, not arguably, I did. Let me say this too and get your opinion. Don't you think that the chance for line discrepancies, meaning softer lines that you can take advantage of, lines that someone who's seasoned like yourself looks at and says that line isn't right, don't you think the chance of that happening is more likely earlier in the tournament than later in the tournament? I always felt that the bigger the schedule, the wider the array of games available, the more chances that you have a line that isn't being bet as much by the public, hasn't been sharpened up by the public, that you can notice, hey, this line is off. As we get closer to the 16, the 8, the 4, it just, the whole world is betting on that. And those lines, it looks like you made them yourself. They're about as sharp as they get. Isn't there a better chance now to find some value?
Yeah, there is. These 16 seeds, 15 seeds, 14, 13s, and 12. You can kind of go from 14, 15s, and 16s. They don't know enough about these schools. They don't know enough about these conferences. So you have in-game opportunity to watch the first 10 minutes. And whether either side you're on in the game, you can see it, see the flow, see if they're outmatched or not, see if they're competitive or not, and then jump in. I think you have more in-game opportunities early. Later in the tournament, you're getting more concrete matchups. The line's going to be tighter. So I've always viewed it that way. Early round, especially with in-game betting now,
yes,
you can get more value watching the game rather than jumping in at the very beginning.
It's a great point. It's something that wasn't around a couple of years ago, and they tried to throw the props down everybody's throat, but that didn't work. About less than 2% of the betting community even cares about props. But in-game betting is really just a version of straight betting, which has existed since the beginning of time. I think it's changed the game. I think it's great. Yeah. I think the actual fan loves it. The gambler loves it. So bravo. They finally got to something that they could add to something that's been going on since the 40s that actually improved it and that was valuable and gave gamblers something extra to turn to and to play on. And I think I do believe that they take advantage of people a little bit with the in-game betting on the vig and the spread, but that's okay. I think that if it just so happens you're going against the trend and you believe that what's going to happen from what you've watched is against what the general population believes, you can sometimes take advantage of that and get a bigger spread in your direction. All right, let's turn to the NBA on Sunday and give the people what they want. Some winners. First up, let's go with Denver at Houston. This is a Sunday game, B. What do you think the line will be and who covers?
I believe Houston's going to be a small favorite. Jokic missed the game last night against the Lakers. Whether he plays or he doesn't play, basically he was out, Jamal Murray was out, and they played probably one of the hottest teams in the NBA, and they went into Golden State and beat Golden State without Jokic, Murray, and Christian Braun. So without those guys, they still showed the ability to win. Right. However, you are facing a Houston team that has won 9 in a row straight up, 8-1 against the spread. A lot of people don't remember. They probably have one of the best coaches in the NBA who got fired in Boston for messing around with someone within the organization. Yep. The guy can flat out coach. Yes. They got talent. They've won 9 in a row. If this number is 3 or less with Houston, I would still lay it. I think it's a great spot for Houston to announce their presence with authority. I like the Rockets to get it done at home.
Good call. And lastly, OKC, hottest team in the NBA. I mean, it's great. I go to Oklahoma City every couple of weeks. I got a dear friend there. I stay at the Omni Hotel. My window overlooks the arena where OKC plays. It's a beautiful town. I really love it. It's clean. It's nice. It's actually hip. It's got some great restaurants. The food there is backyard to table. They literally have the cows right there that they serve the steak from. So, I mean, it's really cool, very fresh. OKC at the Clippers, which are known more for that town for their hookers than their steak, but that's another show and another story. Give us the estimated line, OKC at Clippers, and the winner and the team who covers.
First of all, Caesar's Palace has you as a plus 140 underdog that you wear your cowboy hat on the airplane from Miami to OKC.
I do wear my cowboy hat in OKC and my blue suede boots, which are something to see, my friend.
I was going to make you a minus 240 favorite that you wear your cowboy hat at OKC, but you're a slight underdog whether you wear the cowboy hat on the plane. Do you wear it on the plane?
I do wear it on the plane. Normally, I have to wind up putting it on my lap because, you know, when you lean back, it kind of it hits the seat and it's uncomfortable. Sometimes there's nobody flying in that middle seat, so I'll put it in the middle seat. Never put it up. There's a couple of things you never do with your cowboy hat. You don't wear it at the dinner table, and you never put it up on the plane where the bags go. It goes in your lap or on the seat next to you.
You look good in the cowboy hat.
Thank
I would
you,
make
brother.
this line OKC 4-6. This Clipper team is on fire right now. They've won 4 straight, 7 of their last 8. Cavaliers, of course, had their winning streak stopped. Then they went into LA the next game. They lost there. They proceeded to go up to Sacramento, lose there. So after that massive winning streak, they've lost 3 straight. Clippers being one of the teams that got them. I like what I'm seeing from Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers.
Right.
I'm going to take them at home as the home dog. I watched them play the other night. They just look good to me. I think they hang around here and get the job done. I'm going to take them plus the points over OKC.
All right, sounds good. And that will do it for this week. Don't forget, again, to follow us and hit subscribe and like us and all that stuff on your social media, wherever you're seeing us right now. And make sure to go to twoforyourmoney.com and grab the free 2-day all-access pass. That's on us. And we'll see you next week. For Brandon Lang, I'm Steve Budin, and we are Two for Your Money.